Let's look into to do number 2. All right, let's read that. So we have to generate a random number 1 to 100 and save it to a variable called correct number. Now let's see where we do that, okay? Now, if we scroll down, I'm going to point you to something. I'm going to point you to a function called get random number. And the reason why we're doing that is because we need to get a random number to check against, right? We're playing a game, we have a random number, and then we are letting the user guess what the random number is. And so obviously we need to get it somehow, okay? In this function, what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to create a variable and use something called math.random to generate a number between 1 and 100. And so what you can do is you can go ahead and console log that number, that variable, and see where you get, and see if you get a random number, okay? If you get between 1 and 100. So maybe do some research on Google. Maybe if you already know, that's perfect, but try it out and then come back, and then we're gonna go through the solution. Awesome. So let's take a look at the solution for this get random number, okay? So really it's a few things. So we're going to do this. You can see this returns our number. So let's go ahead and we're gonna return this, but we're gonna console log it for now. So I'm gonna let random number equals math.random. If you go to Google, because obviously you're a developer, you're gonna be using Google a lot. Like seriously, that's partially our job is just Google searching. Math.random JavaScript, and if we go to, I like to use W3 Schools. And you can see this really generates a number between 0 inclusive and 1 exclusive. When I say exclusive, that means it will never be 1. It will be always like 0.99999 if that's the case, okay? Now, if we generate this, it's going to give us between 0 and 1. So this doesn't really help us. But what we can do is we can multiply by 100, okay? If you multiply this by 100, right, and you console log it, console.log random number, and if we go ahead and we try it out, obviously we need to call this function somewhere. Go ahead and get a random number. It's not going to console log it until we call it, so we're going to call it for now. Let's just call it inside this window to unload. So remember we talked about how this, this executes the functions once the document is loaded. So we do get random number. We're going to call this here. We don't need this. We don't need this for now. Get a random number, and then that should work as this. So let's go ahead and refresh it. Perfect. Right. Oh, perfect. Now you can see with math.random, if we just do that, what's going to happen is it's going to give us a 0.1. However, if we multiply by 100, then we're turning that number into a whole number, okay? A whole number that at a maximum can be 100, because if you multiply 0.5 by 100, it's 50. If you multiply, for example, like 1 by 100, it's 100, and so forth, okay? So we multiply by 100 to move those decimal places to the right 2 times, right? And what I will do is I will actually show you. If you do really quickly, let random number equals math.random, just because I want to show you what it actually does. Math.random, and then we're going to do a whole number, and that one is simply going to be random numabe. This is what happens when you try to type fast, guys. numabe random number times 100, okay? Whole number, and I'm going to console out whole number, and we're also going to console out the random number. Perfect, just like that. Okay, so let's try it out again. All right, awesome. So you can see that the first number I'm going to switch this place so it's not too complicated, so it doesn't confuse you guys, but I'm going to switch this here. And if you refresh it, so it started with a number 0.156, okay? We multiply it by 100, and all of a sudden that number is now 15.6. Remember, it moved the 2 decimals to the right, okay? That's perfect. Now we're getting to some numbers. However, we need to make this, we really need to remove, we don't need these decimal places. It's really not necessary. So in order for us to do that, we can use something called a math.floor. So if we do, for example, math.floor on this whole number, and math.floor just simply removes these decimals and, you know, makes, you know, and just uses the whole number right here, you know, the lower part number. Oops, don't want to save that here. Save it, go ahead and then refresh it, and then let's see what happens. Sweet. 0.756. Remember, you see, it doesn't have a decimal anymore, and all we have is just 75, which is perfect. However, we're not done fully yet. There is one more thing that we want to do. Because math.random is exclusive of 1, it will never be 1. So it will always be like 99. So it's like if it's 0.999, it will always be 99. And so in order for us to cover that aspect and to get the 100, we have to simply just add 1. That way, we will at least have a chance to get the 100 number, okay? Oops, I don't know why I erased this, but, you know, see, we did 0.89. It's actually 90. That's completely fine, and that's pretty much it. Now with that, we're going to return this whole number. So return whole number, and then this random number is simply returns the random number. However, where do we use this? Now we want to save this somewhere where this whole application can use, because obviously, you know, we're going to be using this in multiple places in these functions. And so I'm going to tell you right now that if you want to have something kind of global, what you want to do is you want to put it, you know, on top, you know, above everything else, and you want to put it, you know, not inside any function or just kind of above. So we're going to create a number called let random number equals, right? Actually, you know, we want this to be correct number. Sorry, we're gonna say correct number. That's the correct number, and we want to use the function get random number to get the random number. That's pretty much it. And now we can console log it. Guys, I love console log because you guys always need to check your code. Because our code is so perfect, you know, that we always gotta check it. Obviously, that's you know, I'm just laughing at it, but perfect. 4. You see, refresh it again. 91. Perfect. Now I can just simply remove that because we don't need this anywhere here. That is it. Sweet. Awesome. Sweet. So we've got the number, we saved it to variable correct number, and we've done with our second to do, and we can mark that done. Awesome, guys. So we're getting closer and closer, okay? Sweet.